great day. It's Veda here, and I just got off a phenomenal podcast. I was being interviewed by Sandra Kellogg, and she is with the Empowered Soul Network. Wow, what a great group. So what I want to do is I'm going to share my screen and share the podcast with you, and then I'll see you on the other side once it's complete. So here we go.
Hello, everyone in Empowered Soul Network. Happy Wednesday. I am here with Veda. Veda is I want to hear how you call yourself, Veda, but I know that you help people get unstuck. That's your passion in life. Is that fair to say?
That is. You can call me a life coach. You can call me a success coach, just a coach. My forte, though, is getting people unstuck. And when I say people, I think about it as all consuming, whether it's corporate America people or if it's relationships. That's where my wheelhouse is. I have a master's in communication. My specialty is training and development. I did my dissertation on that. I love corporate communication, lack thereof sometimes. Pretty much it boils down to lack of listening is a big part of that. And how I got going with this whole, what I call the FAST method, is there's nothing fast about it, but it stands for focus, authenticity, support, and trust. Through all of my years of working with people in different roles as a salesperson, then as a manager in different leadership venues, as a director, I found that the commonality of problems were that people, even for me, they weren't focusing, okay? They weren't their authentic self. They really lacked be able to be supportive, and trust was a big thing. At one point in my life, I went in and troubleshooted companies to find out their problems and took care of hostile takeovers. And that's a real eye-opening, really eye-opening. Yeah. And what I find is that what is value to me is that people really need to take the mask off. Just take it off. You want to relate to people.
Yeah.
Be yourself.
Do you
be
find
the person you are on the golf course?
Yeah.
Be the person that you are in your kitchen. Be yourself. Because when we go into a work environment, for some reason, the shoulders go up, people get weird, your boss is more worried about KPIs than you. And I will tell you, the key point indicators will come if you help your people get to where they want to be. Oh, that's right. To get them unstuck.
So let me ask you about that word unstuck. Let me ask you that question about that word unstuck. Do you find as you're working with people that the majority of them know that they're stuck, or is there a lack of awareness that they're even stuck?
Oh, there's a big lack of awareness. They think it's somebody else's problem, not theirs. I can't tell you how many companies I've walked into and they've said, it's my people. It's like, okay, let's do a task analysis and let's figure this out. Is it really your people? Or maybe it's you. And I will tell you, a lot of CEOs now are becoming more aware, thank goodness. And I think a lot to do of that has had to do with the last years that we've been in this kind of weird cycle of, great resignation, COVID, all this stuff. They're scrambling to how can we better communicate with our people? And I always tell them the first step is to ask them. You can give them all the personality tests. I mean, you can do the disc, you can do the color, you can do the this or that. But all you're saying is, okay, now your people are now a test. Have you really sat down and talked to somebody? Maybe there's something more going on. Or the other hand, when you're the employee and you're saying, they're not listening to me. I'm talking, they're not listening. So here's the point. And this is kind of a weird segment, but I'm going to tell you this because I find it important. Water is the greatest metaphor for relationships, personal, professional relationships, water, because there's three forms. You're either a solid, a liquid, or a gas. I choose in my life at this point to be liquid. A lot of people, no matter if it's a relationship with personal or the professional, choose to be ice. And then you have the occasional vapor, the gas part of what's going on. Think of this. Oh my God, she's blowing off what? Steam. He's as hard as a rock, which could be an ice cube. And then there's people, wow, they just flow. It seems so easy for them.
So describe to me, I love a good metaphor. So talk to me more about liquid. What are the characteristics of liquid that you feel are so important?
Liquid people that are more liquid are more able to bend and weave and accept change for what it is. Whether that is good or bad, change is not always for the best, but they're more receptive to it. They're more open. Think of the sea going in and out. You're at the ocean, you're looking at the water. The tide is coming in, the tide is going out. The seasons are changing. I'm instrumenting this change at the workforce. My relationship is changing. It's going in and going out.
Yeah.
And for me, over the years, I've changed. Now, I will tell you, there was a point in my life where I was that ice cube, the ice princess, because that was my job. And I had to be. Did I like that job? No. I don't like negativity. I want things to be positive. At the end of every video, you'll see me, I'll say, always keep smiling. That's my thing. Okay. I have reinvented myself so many times and been resilient. Within the last 2 years, I can't tell you how much I had to pull on the FAST method of being focused, being my authentic self, supporting myself, looking for people to support me, and then the trust factor. And I will say with trust is probably the hardest one because it's the one that can be broken so easily within a minute. Right. It's hard to regroup that. So for me, now I'm going to tell you my backstory real quick.
I was just about to ask you that. If you just give us a little bit more about Veda. Who are you and why are you inspired to do this kind of thing?
For 20 years of my life, I moved from California to Texas, and I was a caregiver. I was a caregiver for 10 years for my mother and father, and then for a short time for my husband. I have since lost my mother and father. They succumbed to their illness. My husband, in the period of that, had a stroke. So I was handling that. Resilience. He's had a full recovery. I took on doing a master's class and getting my master's degree, which I was fortunate to be able to do it online because of the whole COVID thing. And held down a full-time job where I was not only a recruiter for a trade school, but I also was in charge of their sales and marketing. Hello.
So you like to just kind of take it easy, it sounds like, Veda. You don't have a lot of hard work in your life, do you?
Never. Until we left Texas after 20 years, because we said, let's go back home. Home is California. Where the weather is 72, and that's how I like it all the time. Today in the 60s. But we came back and we live near the water, not on it, but near it, because that was a thing. And had to reinvent ourselves and be resilient because after we got here 2 months later, my gallbladder exploded.
Oh my. I
had to be rushed to the hospital. They had to do emergency surgery. And that was a wake-up call. That was the wake-up call that I needed to, again, be resilient and reinvent myself and get unstuck myself. Mm-hmm. I had to stop the loop. I had to stop giving 125%. I had to be okay with 80 for a while. Okay. And then just recently, 17 weeks ago, I had a double mastectomy. So here I am speaking to you with my short haircut, which now I'm always going to have because I love it.
Are you rocking it? Yeah.
And I am 17 weeks into recovery. I'm feeling great.
Wow.
But what got through this whole thing was positivity, being able to be resilient, being truthful with myself, and again, reinvention and focusing, being my authentic self to everybody, supporting myself mentally, and having a support system, and trusting in myself that I could do this, because I knew what the outcome would be if I didn't, because I already experienced it with caregiving. And I said, not for me.
Yeah.
I have people call me. I can't tell you how many times people call me for them to get unstuck. They're like, I've got this problem. What can I do? I said, well, are you focusing on what the problem is? Like, have you turned, when in your meetings, are you turning this lovely thing off? Are you putting it on airplane mode? Or are you waiting for a call from your boss or supervisor and you're picking it up and not even talking to the person anymore that you're in front of?
Right. Not even present.
Okay. That's a true thing. Are you being authentic with yourself? And are you being authentic with others? Like when I start my meetings, I'm telling you, I was jamming the tunes before we got on today, because that's how I get psyched up.
Is there, you mentioned it was a wake-up call when you had the gallbladder rupture. Was there, so obviously there's a decision that was made with that incentive. And then what was the process like for you to be able to shift the habits that you'd had so long to support this new decision?
Well, I will tell you, I had to get rid of the ice cube in me, because I was like, oh, heck no, I don't need painkillers. I don't need anything. I can do it on my own. And the second day in, I told my husband, go to CVS and expletive, get me those painkillers, because I can't do this. I had become fluid really fast. Okay, real fast.
It's such a good metaphor, because you talk, I mean, when I think of water, right, one of the things that I love about water is what you're describing. There's so much soft and gentle and flow, and yet water can be the hardest, strongest substance as well. So it's like, it's that beautiful balance is what I hear when you talk.
And I will say that, the ocean is such a great metaphor, because that ocean can become very nasty very fast. Yeah. And I know that because my husband likes to go out fishing. He took me once. It was a one and done with me. I was like, oh, heck no. I'll take a lake. I'll take some smooth sailing. I said, but this ocean thing's not working for me. Take me in, drop me off. I don't care. Go back out fishing. Bring home the fish. I will gill it, gut it. I will take care of all of that part. But no, because that ocean can be mean really fast.
Yeah.
But going back to, then of course the diagnosis came with the cancer. Had been through it with my aunt. She did nothing. No longer here. My mom did the minimum. And I just said, I don't need these. I'm done. This is what I want to do. Then I spoke to my husband about it. He's like, whatever your wishes are. We sat with the surgeon, and it moved pretty fast, I will tell you. From the point of where I found out that I was stage 1A, which is very small, and I wasn't BRCA positive, so I shouldn't, by all theories, have gotten it.
Right.
But there was a propensity, heredity in my family, so okay, I got hit by the whammy stick, and it is what it is. I went in and contacted a few people, and decided, just like that, this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Recovery. I did take the drugs for 2 weeks. I was like, oh no, I learned from my mistakes. 2 weeks, I got off of all of the opiates and started getting my daily routine. At 4 weeks, I was walking again outside, my long walks. I'm now in week 17. I try to do a daily walk between 3 and 5 miles. I still have a little bit of tendonitis in the shoulder. It comes with the territory. But I feel good. I feel great.
Yeah,
I feel
that's
so
awesome.
good because I used to be able to put the processes that I have been preaching to people for a long time, and twice in a year's time, I was able to do it twice. I'm not saying that everybody is going to aspire to greatness or get unstuck by doing these things. That would be rude for me to think that. But this is a tool. If it
Mhm.
helps you, great. And if it can help a friend of yours, great. It just has worked for me and it's worked for the people that I have coached, whether it be businesses or be on a personal side. It's worked and people say they feel better. But yeah, 2 years ago, I got rid of the mask. I decided, you know what? The only thing is, like, my friends were like, you still wear blazers. I go, I'm cold. I will always wear blazers. I
I'm right
have
there with
a
you.
closet full of blazers. Okay. Blazers are my thing. I don't call them a mask. I just call them my shoulders are cold. But yeah, I think there's a lot of people wearing the mask, being authentic is my whole thing. My soul is, I feel that I am on this earth to inspire and help others be happy. Life
Mm.
is too short to be unhappy. And
Is
I
that,
want people to find happiness wherever they're at.
yeah,
And we spend a heck of a long time in corporate America. And as entrepreneurs, we spend a heck of a lot of time perfecting what we do. And relationships take work. It all comes together. But first and foremost, I want people to be happy.
yeah. If I
I'm serious.
if you were to jump back, because I know we kind of veered a little bit, but going back to when you first had that wake up call with the gallbladder, and you said there was that initial shift with your husband of like, okay, go get me some help, some support. What was the rest of your process? Maybe not the entire thing, but something that people could take away, like, oh, this is something that I could do to start shifting now beyond just the decision, but the implementation of that. That
I will say, trust your body. Your body knows best.
mm,
Your body is the wake up call. My body was telling me what I didn't know at the time was my body was telling me that pretty much a couple of years previous, I was having signs and symptoms, but because I was so caught up in taking care of everybody else, I put myself on the back burner.
right.
We have one body, okay? We need to take care of that body, and it's important. And it's also important to read up, get material. But first and foremost, if your body is telling you something, you have to stop and pause. I didn't stop and pause. I just kept going like a steamroller. That was
Mm,
the iceberg part of me.
mhm.
Yeah. And then with that comes, okay, the next step is, yeah, the realization that you do need some medication. I'm not saying go overboard by any means, or even some meditation may have worked. I'm not a big meditator. I don't. I just it's a thing. I find solace through music.
Mm.
That's how I find my groove is through music. And but yeah, it takes a lot. It takes a lot to say I was wrong. And that's the key thing.
Yeah.
I was wrong. And that can be, again, professionally
And
or
then, yeah,
personally.
you're bringing it full circle now, right? Back to
Yeah,
now why you do what you do and how you help people. Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. So, first and foremost, you've got to walk the walk. And that's where a lot of times people are just like they'll say something, but then they're not doing it. And I had to give myself the talk and saying, hey, wake up. This is where you're at. This is where you've been. You've helped a lot of people. Why aren't you helping yourself?
Yeah.
And that's why I'm here today. It is
Well,
what it is.
can you walk us through the acronym again? You've got F.
Yes, yeah, I'd be happy to. It's called FAST. The
Mhm.
first one is focus.
Mhm.
Okay. The second one is authenticity.
Okay.
The third one is support.
Mhm.
And the fourth one is trust.
So expand maybe in like 30 seconds on focus.
Focus means get rid of this thing and
Mhm.
look the person in the eye.
Mm.
Have a one-on-one. Focus on that person. Listen to what they're saying. Authenticity, take off the mask and be yourself. Make sure that the people you're dealing with feel comfortable that they can be their self, their authentic self around you.
Yeah.
Support. Be there. When the phone rings, answer it. When the person says, I need something, listen. And if you can help them, support them. And by reciprocal, support the other person who may be in need. And trust. Trust in yourself and trust in your fellow man. Because that's the linchpin of the whole thing is trust. Trust is, like I said, it's the hardest and the easiest to get and to lose.
I'm glad thank you for sharing that again and elaborating on it, because as I was listening, the thing that I was also receiving from you is how that can be applied. Every single one of those can be applied to me doing that for myself as well. You know, the focus, giving myself total presence, total authenticity with self, supporting myself, receiving the support, trusting myself. That's beautiful. Love that.
And I had been practicing for this for so long, but I never really gave it anything until one time I was penning it out. I'm like, oh yeah, focus, authenticity. I'm writing it down. And I looked at it again and I'm like, oh, it spells fast. Okay, I got a thing.
Yeah, I got a thing. I love it. So let me ask you a question. I like to ask this often. Empowered Soul Network, that's where we are right now. What is that to you? What's an empowered soul to you?
Empowered soul is somebody who can be truthful with themselves. Somebody who walks their walk and inspires other people to walk their walk. That's what it really means to me.
Beautiful. Is there anything I love that. That's just, and so clear and concise, which is, is the way it penetrates into the feelings, right? Okay, so how can people connect you what's kind of, as we wrap up here, how would you like to wrap this up? Anything else you feeling inspired and called to share with people?
Okay, so if you feel that you want to have more inspiration and happiness and get unstuck, I'm like very social. I'm very social. I'm very social when we go out. My husband's like always saying, hey, do you ever like know a stranger? I said, a stranger's just somebody I haven't met yet. I said, so I'm probably going to meet everybody at the sushi bar tonight, so don't worry about it. But if you want to get a hold of me, I'm on every social platform. I'm on TikTok. I am on Facebook. I am on Instagram. I have a Snapchat. You can get through to me on my website, which is my first and last name, vedajablan.com. And it's VEDAJABLAN, all scrunched together.com. Make it real super simple. Okay. And from there, you can read my blogs. You can read about my 30 entries about breast cancer. You can read about authenticity. I have about 4 blog posts, not 5 now, but the first 3 are about breast cancer. I didn't want to dwell on it forever, but I did want to give people the real me and how I was dealing with it and what they take away from that. And now I'm moving on just to working on a book with respect to communication. And it's going to be called, I already have a working title, Vibing with Veda.
I like it.
And now that I'm feeling better and I'm up and I'm more mobile, I'm going to be looking into starting a podcast also with the same name. So to be continued, more happiness.
Absolutely. Any final parting words? I want you to have the last share if there's anything that you want to inspire people with.
Yeah, I just want people to realize that, even though you may be having a down day, it doesn't mean you're going to be down. So get yourself up, shake yourself off, and always keep smiling.
Beautiful. Love it. Thank you so much, Vita. Thank you for being here and sharing with us your journey, your a bit about you, letting us feel your essence and all of the practical knowledge and wisdom that you shared with us as well. Really appreciate
Sandra,
it.
it's been my pleasure. Thank you very much for having me. I totally appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, everybody, you've been listening to Vita Jablan, and this is our Empowered Soul Network interview, and hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful week. Take care.
So, everybody, that was my podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. And again, you can see it on the Empowered Soul Network. And again, I want to give a big shout out to Sandra Kellogg. I had a blast, and I can't wait to see you all again. And as I always say, always keep smiling.